Hi, welcome to Theory for Acoustic Chord Players. We're going to get started and learn a little bit about the major scale. That's just where we're starting with, to get some theory so we'll understand about chords, what's going on in the chords, where they are, and every note, and eventually, not very long, should be able to play any chord that you see the name of, and any chord that someone shows you, figure out what chord it is. Okay? So we're going to deal with G major today, the E form of the bar chord of G major. There's the cowboy chord. We'll talk about the cowboy chord later. The one thing I want you to learn is just one. I always try to do one technical, weird, new thing that you don't like to learn, and then try to get some applications, some things to think about. The only thing I want you to learn is the major scale. And we're learning by the degree names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you see the pattern. It's 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, that's it. But from there, we're going to go a lot from there. The other thing to know, and of course always to notice, this is good, we're going to find our things from the root, and of course the only note that we name, that we ever do by note name, is the root of the chord that we're talking about. So there's the root, and 2 over and 2 down, as I call it, is the root, and a diagonal. And the only difference is, of course, because of the stupid B string thing, is when you get down here, it's 3 over and 2 down. So that's the root. Questions? Good. Now, the next thing we're going to learn are the intervals, or the spacing between these notes. And we're going to talk more about the major scale later, but let's just dig into this. The most important notes that you start with, the most important notes of the major scale are the first, the third, and the fifth. First, third, fifth. That's actually an arpeggio. First, third, fifth, root, fifth, third. Okay. The first to the third is up a string and back a fret. But that's actually 2 whole steps. A whole step is 2 frets. So you also want to be learning, this is for your single note stuff, but also for other things, that where that interval is on a single string. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So there's your third. If I went to my root, there's my third. That's your third. Your fifth is up a whole step, over 2 frets, and up 1 string. Little Steely Dan thing. It is also found, when you find your root, 1 string directly below it. So all your country bass and tuba is like that. If I switch to, I'll do the key of C. That's the root and the fifth. But let's go back to G. So fill me your sound. So the fifth is always there. So we know where the first is, we know where the third is, we know where the fifth is. One below. That's my G. We always know that what I call the bottom string is the same as the top string. So the fifth would be directly below it. Well, since we know that, now let's look at this chord. This is the first. What note is that? It's the fifth. What note is that? It's the root. What note is that? It's the third. What note is that? Since it's directly below the root, it's the fifth. So this chord is 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, root. Any questions? Good. And the reason we're doing this and where we're going eventually is so when we look at any chord, we should be able to figure out what's going on. Why that chord's that, or that chord. Because we'll know where all the notes are. So, and the other thing about the major scale, which is kind of weird, which you want to kind of think about, is there's all these other notes, and when you see these weird chords, well, there's only 12 notes. So I got 7 of them covered. There's only a couple of these other notes. Okay? So all they're doing is playing some of these other notes, and there aren't that many. So it really isn't as complicated as it seems. And they're actually named when they say flat 5, say, you know, G minor flat 5. They name it by telling you how it is from the major scale. It's a G minor with a flat 5. So they're actually explaining it in the name. So it actually ends up being pretty easy once you get this. Okay, so remember this, the first to the third is also that distance. Now, I would be remiss if I did not explain the major scale sort of the other way, but to note that it's almost always a whole step between these, except between the third and the fourth, and the seventh and the root. So it's whole step, half step between the third and the fourth, whole step to the fifth, whole step to the sixth, whole step to the seventh, half step to the root. So a whole step or 2 frets between everything except between the third and the fourth and the seventh and the root. So later, if we were doing single string stuff, I'd be teaching you, most people teach you to find, and at some point, to learn the major scale on one string. 4, 5, 6, 7, root, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, root. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Good. Okay. I'll leave it at that. The other next thing we'll just show you, because you want to use this pattern, this is what you have to learn. I also want you to learn this pattern up here. So find the root. It should be the same, 1, 2, except because of that B string. And that's on your handout as well. this is a G because this is the A string. That's the A, opposite of the 12th fret. So that's a G. So what do you think the major scale looks like here? Where is the octave? That's a G. We also know it because it's the 12th fret of the G string. How would we play the major scale starting here? We want to learn it because when you look at chords in all different kind of places, in all different forms, like that form and that form, we're going to, and that form, we're going to be able to find where the third is, the fifth, third, and the root. Any questions? Good. See you next time.